All right, so we are recording. Awesome, great. We'll get started. So welcome to today's SUNY Online webinar. We're thrilled that you could be with us today to learn a little bit more about Brightspace as an instructor. I'm Erin Maney. If we haven't met, I manage our communications and community engagement at SUNY Online. It's my pleasure to welcome you today and to introduce our speakers. Jamie Heron is our program manager for SUNY Online. Many of you know Jamie, and she previously served at the Center for Professional Development, leading program areas there as well. Allene Slating is the senior instructional designer with the SUNY Online teaching team and formerly served at SUNY Delhi, wearing many hats, I should say. Both JV and Allene bring a wealth of experience and expertise in Brightspace and faculty development and training, so we're really happy that you could be here with us today and share some great tips and time savers for instructors in Brightspace. So with that, I'll turn it over to the two of you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Erin, and thanks for doing this with me today, Allene. I'm very grateful. I'm going to kick us off today, and Allene will join, will take over for me in just a little bit. We have a quick slide deck before we jump into some demo here. So let's talk about what we're going to cover today. First, I'm going to talk about some different navigation strategies that might save you some time and energy when you're navigating through Brightspace. And then we'll talk about some course management strategies, some content tips, and release conditions. And at the end, if we have time available, we'll open up the forum to see if there are any other sticking points or questions that people might have about how to use Brightspace effectively. We can kind of anticipate what people might find a little bit confusing or challenging about Brightspace, but every time I meet with a faculty member, I learn a different perspective. And so I think that we're curious to see what you all might want to discuss here today. So we do have some resources available to you. We have some technical help for your campus. If your campus subscribes, you have access to the SUNY Online Help Desk, who I'm imagining almost everybody loves and adores. I've never heard a negative thing about the SUNY Online Help Desk. They are great. If you don't have access to the SUNY Online Help Desk, if your campus doesn't subscribe to that service, please feel free to reach out to your campus help desk. What we also have for you available on the SUNY DLE website are some Brightspace resources, and those come in the form of Scribe documents where you can click through and learn how to do certain tasks within Brightspace. We also have videos, and we have some searchable guidelines or guides that will help you find what it is that you're looking for to learn how to do. All right, and then that's supposed to go at the end, but we're just starting. So I'm going to stop my screen share just a moment. And oh, my chat got bigger there. And then I will start sharing my screen here in Brightspace. You'd think with two monitors I could manage all of these things, but even though I've been doing this for years, it's still something. All right. So just so you know, I come at my use of Brightspace from a faculty perspective that's kind of guided by my instructional design practice. So I have been teaching online since 2003, so now over 2 decades. And honestly, it's my favorite learning management system I've ever taught in, and I've taught in 7. And one of the reasons why I love it so much is I think that the interface is really clean. But even with that nice, clean, simple interface, there are things that I think people either don't attend to or they didn't see, etc. So I just want to give you some, like little quick tips on how to navigate to your courses, to other materials within Brightspace more quickly, more efficiently. So the first thing I wanted to mention is that if you are an instructor at multiple SUNY DLE campuses, you might have access to multiple campuses that you get to select from. And so it's generally helpful if you're looking for a campus-based resource and you're teaching at multiple SUNY DLE campuses to be on your home SUNY campus, and you just click onto that by clicking on the icon in the top left-hand corner. And then you can select from your campuses here. That's really only if you want access to, the campus specific resources. Most of us as faculty aren't really using those resources on a daily basis when we're going into Brightspace. We're really just looking for a particular course. So say I went to SUNY Professional Development, which was one of the campuses that I have access to in Brightspace here. Um, and then I wanted to look for a particular course. There are ways to do that here from the My Courses widget, but I honestly find this method of finding your course to be a little bit overwhelming. It's not as easy to kind of navigate through as this waffle up here. So this is our course selector or waffle. I like to name things after food because I just love to eat. Um, but at any rate, this icon up here in the top right-hand corner of your screen is going to help you navigate through the courses to which you have access. So if you click on that waffle, a menu is going to drop down from there, and you may have, just one course in there. You may have 13, you may have 1,000. So it's going to depend on your role on your campus. It's going to be depend on, whether or not you've lost access to courses that are being archived now that we've been in Brightspace long enough, etc. And there are some things that you can do with this drop-down menu with the waffle that make our lives as faculty a little bit better. And the first, most important one is our ability to search for a particular course. So if your course list extends down below and you have to do a scroll like I have to do, and you're looking for a course from the fall, you could type in, like FA 24, right? Or FA 25, whatever your campus naming convention is for that particular course. Or you could search a course title. So say I could type training and it would search for me all the courses to which I have access to here that have the word training in it. We also have advanced search options. So if you have a lot of courses, this might help you. But to be honest, I'm able to just get most of what I want from this standard search bar here. The other option that we have to control what we see in our waffle menu or course selector menu here is the ability to pin courses. So if you know that you're going to be going into courses fairly regularly and you want them to be always at the top of this menu list, you can pin that item. So you can see my course for the spring just started and I added that pin. So now it's always there at the top. One of the things that you might find here, however, with the pins, it's going to keep those pinned courses in the order in which they were pinned, not the order in which they were last accessed. So if I wanted the course that I'm actually teaching this semester to be up at the top, I would have to unpin the rest and repin them if I wanted. It is easy to pin and unpin a course. It's as simple as that, and it will stay then up at the top of your menu. Below that, if you don't pin your courses, what will happen is your most recently accessed course will be at the top of the list, and then the one that you had accessed just before that goes down there. So if you know that you're always accessing one or two courses, you might not need to pin it. They're going to stay right at the top there. So for me, that's the easiest way to access one of my courses. Once you're in the course, we have a couple of different navigation strategies to kind of engage with here. We can always access our course content through this visual table of contents widget here, or we can simply click into the content link on the nav bar, this is the midline nav bar right here. Well, it's not quite the middle. It's right. It's at the top quarter there. But at any rate, understanding what the links are going across your nav bar is very helpful to you. Understanding what might be contained within drop-down menus on that nav bar will also help you more efficiently and effectively navigate through your course materials. I tend to avoid scrolling wherever I can, so I use these links to help me access my course content, my course activities, rather than going through the visual table of contents widget. I'm going to click into the content area here in my practice. Oh, this is not the course I meant to go into. I'm so sorry. I meant to go into this one. So I'm going to go into the content area here. And I want to talk to you a little bit about the left-hand navigation menu here. It's obviously on the left-hand side. You're able to search topics here. So if you're looking for a specific page within your course or an item within your course that you've added and you can't remember which module you put it in, you could always search your topic here. The other thing you want to be aware of is that your table of contents view, if you're clicked onto this link, what this allows you to do is see all of your modules, all of your content here in the content area, all on one single page, which if you have 15 modules could be an extensive kind of scroll for you. If you want to have less stuff in this kind of right-hand side of your screen, you just click into a single module, and that's going to give you a slightly more condensed, more fine-tuned look at the content here. So when I want to be in module one, I'm in module one. You can see that it's highlighted here. There's a little indicator with this triangle tip here or arrow tip here pointing at module one to let me know where I am within Brightspace. One of the other ways to navigate within Brightspace that I absolutely love, and I just want to show you here, it's what I call a hidden menu, and it's because it's not advertised very well, and it's a very tiny little arrow or triangle here. So once you're in a particular item or a piece of content in your content area, you can see that you have a kind of breadcrumb trail here that's letting you know that first you were in the table of contents, then you were in module one, and currently you are looking at the module one learning resources. You have a way to navigate backwards one item and forward one item using these buttons, but over here in this side panel menu here, if you expand it, so you click on this little triangle right here, what will expand is this nice menu here that allows you to skip from this particular page to a whole other page or link within that particular module. It also allows you to jump between modules or all the way back to the table of contents. So say you were adjusting all of your module overviews for your 15 modules. You can use this side menu to navigate to a whole different module, find the page or link that you're looking for, and just click here onto that page, and it's going to take you right there. The benefit of that is on that page, say for example, I wanted to get back to that module one overview, I would either have to click through multiple pages using this button right here, or I would have to come back to my table of contents link, wait for that to load, and then scroll down to that module one link, and then click on that module one overview. So you can see how using that little expandable side menu can save you some time, particularly when you're not moving to the next page or the adjacent page before or after. Let me see if there are any questions. Yeah, so David, for sure, searching by your course CRN can certainly help you find your courses if you know it, or the title, etc. For those of us with kind of campus sysadmin or instructional design access, that is definitely the fastest way for us to search for a course. The other thing I wanted to talk to you about today are discussions within Brightspace, which are unique in Brightspace, and I don't say that in a negative way. They offer us a different way of using discussions than any other learning management system I've ever taught in. And the reason for that is they offer us a tool called a discussion forum, which I consider a bulletin board. And then we have a discussion topic. So discussions are two parts. There's a forum and a topic. And the discussion forum acts like a bulletin board, where it's going to be the place where the conversation can take place, but not directly on the bulletin board. We need that topic to go in it. Because of that, it changes how we access those materials, but also changes how it looks. And so some of the feedback I have gotten from faculty in the past is that it's really difficult to navigate through or read discussions. And so I want to highlight that there are two different ways aside from grading. Grading is a whole different animal. There's a whole separate view for grading and viewing discussions. But in order to read and participate in discussions, there are two different views that we can use to do so, and they are drastically different, and they have different pros and cons to each of them, and you get to choose which one you want to access or which one you want to use. So here in the discussions area of my course here, you can see I've created a discussion forum here with instructions. And then I have my discussion topic, which is actually where the conversation between my students is taking place. And I went in a little bit earlier today and I had 3 demo students come in and participate, pretending to answer these questions here. But before we go into view those discussions, I wanted to show you this button up here called Settings on the discussions page. So up here in the right-hand corner, when you've clicked into discussions, if you click Settings, you're able to make some global adjustments to how discussions are viewed and kind of are set to release to students for that particular course. You have to do this for each course that you're in. However, once you make those settings and you copy that course, it carries over. So as you scroll down, you can say how you want things to display. And right here, this default view is the one we get to choose. Which one of these do I prefer? And at the end of this little conversation we have here today, you can go check which one you think will work best for you. If you have a question about it, you can select this question mark, and it's going to let you know that it's going to display in the traditional grid view, which we're probably most accustomed to, but there's also the reading view. I'm going to leave this at grid view just so I can show you what that looks like. And then you can say, do you want to include the original post in the reply? But down here's another little hidden thing about discussions that I kind of love, that once you set it at the global level and create new discussions, this limits how many clicks you have to do to set the parameters for particular discussions. You can select rating systems. You can set your availability conditions, whether or not students can access the discussions before the discussion set to start, whether they can see it here but can't post, or whether the discussion is hidden from the start until that date hits. And the same then for the end dates. We're also within the grid view able to select whether or not the topic descriptions display, whether we want to see it threaded or unthreaded. And so threaded means that the main post will be out here, and then subsequent posts fall kind of indented 5 spaces, etc. That's the one we're most accustomed to. Unthreaded, it would be viewed all in one line based on the date and time of its posting. So we get to go through all of these display settings and set them there. Just be mindful that if you've already created those settings about access, etc., to a previous discussion forum, it's not going to overwrite that. This is only going to apply to new things in Brightspace. All right, so let's see the grid view of discussions. I'm going to click into this topic that has posts in it already. And what you'll see here is our traditional discussion view that we're probably most accustomed to. The instructions are supposed to be here, but they're not. But at any rate, down below, what you'll see is this is a main post, and these are replies and a reply to a reply, etc. This is the grid view, and we're probably really familiar with this. The great thing about this is it helps you understand where you are relative to other posts in the conversation. So if I click into Jane's first reply, it's going to pop up like this. I can read her reply, and as I see here, now it is no longer bolded, and I can move forward in the conversation. You can see now I'm at Tamara's second reply here. I can move backward in that conversation. So you can see Tamara's main post as well. The thing about this grid view is if you're clicking through these posts, once you get to the end of that particular main post thread, you can only go backwards. You can't jump to the next main post, so you have to X out of that in order to see Amir's main post. You're able to click into any of these posts within this main post here and go forward and backward in this little box here, if that makes sense. So that is typically how I like to participate in discussions, but or to read them and then reply. But I found that other faculty really like the reading view a little bit better. And one of the benefits of selecting the reading view in this settings button up here is that regardless of which one of those you've selected, if you navigate to the discussion from the content area, it automatically puts you in reading mode. So I tend to set my default as grid view from the discussions. And then if I want to see it in reading view, I just come to my module one, click on that link here, and it brings me into the reading view of this particular discussion topic here. So you can see this looks drastically different than the grid view. It will display a little bit of the text. It's not as easy to see the kind of the way in which the conversation unfolds as it does in the grid view, but you can expand out the full reading of that particular thing. If you want to look at the replies, you click into that, and then you can start to see that grid view, how things relate to one another, and you can see it all in one place. The nice thing then is you can reply to either the main post or the reply to the reply, etc. And then you might find as more students are participating that you might have to navigate to the next page as well. So those are the two different views. You can see that they bring some different strengths and weaknesses to that. You just get to choose which one you want to look at and engage with your students in that manner. So any questions on that? All right. Next, we have how to, let's talk about some course management. And what we want to discuss is first a tool called Bulk Edit. And Bulk Edit, anywhere you see that in Brightspace, by the way, it's not just in the content area. It can be in the grade book. It can be in a couple other places that I'm not able to rattle off the top of my head, but anywhere you see that button, Date Manager, that's another one. Anywhere you see that button, that is meant to save you time. And if I were to say, for example, be one of those faculty members who likes to put the date of their week or content, etc., on each of the links in a particular module, at the start of the semester, that can, I'm going to have to click in and click the chevron, click Edit Properties in Place, adjust this title, and then click off of that for it to save. If I had to do that for each of the links, that would take, 3 to 4 clicks per link. But instead, I can click into Bulk Edit. What that allows me to do is edit all of those titles, edit all of these other options that I have, and I can make it all of them invisible or hidden rather, or visible. I can change all the dates and restrictions or add descriptions for all of the items within a particular module all at the same time. That can be a lifesaver if you have to adjust all of those titles at the start of the semester. We also have that in the table of contents. So if you have it throughout your whole course, you can click into that table of contents, click Bulk Edit, and then just adjust the titles wherever you need to. Say, for example, it's just in your Module 1 overview that you have that date. You could do that for Modules 1 through 15 all on one page, so you don't have to worry about all those extra clicks there. So anywhere you see Bulk Edit, that's designed to save you some time. Next, we have the kind of manage dates. And you can access that typically through a link on your nav bar. It'll either say course admin, or maybe you'll have a drop down menu like we do here. And you're going to go to the course admin tool unless it's listed specifically on your nav bar. Sorry, I was getting a call. I'm going to click on course admin. It's going to take me to this page, which, by the way, you can sort by category or by name. I tend to go by name because I'm going to look for a specific tool, and I'm looking for the date manager, or rather manage dates. Sorry, date manager is a throwback to Blackboard. That's a long time ago. So I'm going to click into manage dates. And this for me is my savior when it comes to starting a course each semester. So I just did this on Sunday because I had a course that opened on Monday, yesterday. And so I had imported my course into a course shell, and then I needed to adjust all of my dates. So you're able to do that all in one space. So you don't have to go to every announcement. You don't have to go to every discussion. You don't have to go to every quiz, etc. You can come here and do that all in one spot. Now you are able to filter by tool, but I'm going to come back to that after a moment here, because I wanted to talk about this bulk offset dates. So I pulled a course from my fall that I'm teaching this spring. And so I imported that course in, and then I came to manage dates and I clicked bulk offset dates. What this allows me to do, oh, I got to click everything first, sorry. What this allows me to do is offset all of these dates by a range between two particular dates. I know the start date of my fall course, and I know the start date of my spring course. So if I click calculate range between two dates, I know that it started in, oh, sorry, 08, 8, 26, 2025. And then I always make this the at 12:01 a.m. And then my course actually started yesterday, 126, and I make this also. And now you can see that the dates on everything that has a date, except for intelligent agents, by the way, it should work, but it doesn't, um, will be offset forward by 153 days. This is particularly helpful when you are changing years. Even if you have to modify it by a day or two because you have to accommodate for spring break versus the fall break and Thanksgiving break, etc. It's going to get you in the same month typically, and it's going to get you in the same year. Makes everything else better. So I'm not going to save this because we don't really have dates to change, but you can see then that once you have bulk offset all of those dates, that you're able to make adjustments directly in here. So just clicking on that date, I could make an adjustment here if I wanted to, and it makes it easier. I don't have to go to announcements, then click on the chevron for that announcement, click edit the announcement, change the dates, click save. I can simply change it right here really easily. The other thing I wanted to show you really quickly are this filter by tool. So if you want to make sure that all of your announcements line up with the dates on your syllabus, you can click specific tool and click announcements and apply filter. And that is going to show you all of your announcements that you have in that particular course, and you can make sure that they are aligned after you offset those dates. If they're off by a day, you can just click on that and adjust that however you need to. What I found with that offset dates, the only thing I have trouble with again is the school holidays throw things off a little bit. And I just have to make some minor adjustments with that. But otherwise, it's pretty spot on and it saves me a ton of work. You could also then change it. I'm going to look at all my assignments next, make sure all of those dates line up. I look at all of my quizzes, etc., to make sure my due dates and my available and my hidden dates all are what I wanted them to be. So you can see that it would show up. This quiz doesn't have a date, but anyway, you can see how much time that's going to save you in the end. So I hope that that's helpful to you all. I have a chat in private chat about whether or not you can apply a rubric to a discussion in Brightspace, and you absolutely can. So if we have time at the end, we'll come back to that. All right, second to last thing I wanted to show you here is each of us, when we're teaching in the semester, we have to fill out like attendance or a census data for our campuses. That's tied to federal funding of our students and our campuses, et cetera. So, say for example, where I teach, I have to submit 3 different attendance dates plus midterms. So, we get lovely reminders from the registrar, but it's information that I have to have handy. So I have to know when students have been in the course or have not within a specific date range of each of those required postings. So we have a tool here in Brightspace that starts to make that a little bit easier. So you don't have to click through all the different activities, et cetera, for that. So I'm going to click into Course Home. And there's a widget that is probably on your home page, and it's called Course Overview. And what it does is it allows you to see a little bit about your student activity over the past week right here. So you can see last Wednesday, one person visited the course. On Monday, one person visited, and today, 5 different people visited this course. You can click into course engagement, you can click into course access, but the one that we want for this purpose is course access. We do have to be a little bit mindful that course access is kind of the information that we get is dependent upon how the students are accessing the course materials, whether it's through the app or whether it's through a browser. But for the most part, this can be really helpful in getting us started here. I have access to way too many people here. Hold, please. I only want OS. Are we SO? I tested this in my courses, not in this one. I apologize. I should have looked. Let me look. Which one are we called, Allene? Do you know?
SON.
SLN, SON?
SON. Yeah.
There it is. Is this what I'm looking for? Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. But at any rate, it's going to give us information about who is and who isn't accessing our course materials. You can export that to CSV or XLCX. Oh, I can't read. XLSX, which is an Excel file there. If we want to see class engagement, that's where it's going to show each of our individual students and their class engagement. So it'll show when they last visited. It's going to show their discussion participation, etc. But this number right here is going to help us. So if we know that our census date is between, I don't know, 126 or between 1/6 and 126, and someone hasn't visited the course in that time frame, that means that I would write that student's name down and I would dig deeper. But if this is showing that they've engaged and they have a current grade that's decent, I'm going to go ahead and mark them as attended. What I would do for a student who hasn't engaged in the course then, as indicated here in this class engagement link, is then I would go to my class progress for that particular student and dive a little deeper. This does tend to save you a little bit of time when you're doing that attendance, bearing in mind that it's not foolproof. So if you do have a question about a particular student's engagement, whether they just logged in or whether they actually did something in your course, that's going to be better demonstrated in this class progress report here, because that's going to show you their system access. It's going to show you all of their grades, etc. So it gives you a little bit more information. But I first start with that class engagement widget there that kind of narrows it down for me who hasn't been attending. And then I dive deeper for individual students I have questions about. All right. And one question here. Yes, exactly. So if you don't have access to that widget, you can always ask to have access granted, then they can add it to your homepage, or you can always use the class progress. The class progress isn't too bad at helping you determine that. It's just a little faster with the widget. Right. So, John, you're asking a question about engagement include logins using the Pulse app. The information that we get from the Pulse app is different than from a browser. We actually get, please forgive me if I'm wrong. It's the Pulse app that gives us the date and the time stamp. It's the web browser that only gives us the date. It's not going to give us a time stamp. So we get a little bit more information when they log in through Pulse, but we do get that information overall. All right, the last thing I wanted to show you all today is Quick Eval, and I'm not going to go through Quick Eval in total today because we've already done that in a previous workshop here for SUNY Online, and I have tons of materials online for Quick Eval. But I just want to talk about in terms of efficiency, in terms of using Brightspace's tools to make our lives as faculty members easier. Quick Eval is my favorite. When I saw it demonstrated by the product team from D2L, I was like doing field goal hand signs because I was so excited about how easy it makes it for us to grade. Most campuses will have the Quick Eval tool listed directly from the nav bar or on your course homepage. We have Quick Eval, or you can get to it from your course admin panel. There are multiple ways to get to it. So anywhere you see Quick Eval, go ahead and click into that, and this is what we'll see. So I'm going to go back to Quick Eval here because we actually don't have Quick Eval linked to from the nav bar in this instance of Brightspace. But I love going into Quick Eval and clicking on the activities view and seeing how many posts I have to read, how many I've kind of evaluated, how many, I'm sorry, how many of my students have actually completed the work that's required. You can see 3 of my 3 students did. How many I've evaluated and how many I've published my evaluations to. We're able to kind of control how those dates or how the content gets released back to our students in terms of our feedback, and we're able to control what we see or don't see on this Quick Eval tool. So say, for example, my Module 2 discussion is open, but it's not due for another 2 weeks. I can always hide that particular discussion from view by dismissing it until a specific date. Say the due date is next week. I can click dismiss activity, and that will stay dismissed until that date and time has passed. This is what I always love to see, this little cat napping by my computer. My cat is actually napping behind my computer today. But I can always get those dismissed activities back, by the way. So I'll put some links to those Quick Eval videos and documents for you in the chat, but I just want to continually push Quick Eval as the way in which we grade our discussions and our assignments. Quizzes can be a little more challenging in terms of the Quick Eval, but it's still possible. And Allene did a really good job of covering that, I think, was it December or November? At any rate, at the end of last semester, we covered it. All right, with that, I've done my part, and I'm going to hand it right on over to Allene. Thank you.
Oh, thanks, Jamie. Actually, I kind of wanted you to just share your screen real quick, just while you had it up. Okay, if you could head over to your home page, your course home page. All right, so I will point this out, or I'll talk more about this, but I just wanted to point out that when Jamie sees her view of the announcements, she sees her name. Thank you for sharing, Jamie. Now, when I share mine, you'll see my name, and I'll show you a trick for how you can add this in, which is replace strings. So, alrighty. Okay, so as for content tips, I will show you 3 features that will help manage and personalize your content. One is the replace strings, which I'll talk more about in a second. Then we also have document templates for the HTML web pages, and then also release conditions. So replace strings. So if we now look at my announcement, we see my name. Replace strings are an easy way to personalize content. And it is a small string of formatted text in between curly brackets that acts as a placeholder to display specific information such as a student's name. On your end, you'll just see the string, but each student or viewer, such as Jamie, myself, we will see our own name. So what that looks like, let me jump into this. I'm just going to edit this one. So if we look at my headline is this first string, which is first name. So you would simply replace the text that you would normally have for someone's name and just add in this replace string. You can add it into the text of the headline, and then you can also add it into the body of an announcement using almost anything with a text editor. There are some areas it won't work. But you can add in a string for first name, and also org unit would be another common one. The org unit name will be the name at the top of the course page. So it won't be what's on the banner. I'm going to leave this for a second. It won't be what's on the banner here. It'll be what's listed in the course admin information and at the top of the page. So you would just add it in. It is not case sensitive. Keep it one word. And if you want to preview what it looks like as you're working, you can head over to the preview icon in the toolbar. Click that. And now I can see it replaces my name and it replaces the title of the course. And then you would go ahead and save. Or update in my case. Sorry, Jamie, if this sends you an email. So the other area that you might find it useful would be in a module description. Let me zoom out for a second. So here I'm on my getting started. In the module description, you can add in an overview or content, add in an image, whatever you want. But then you can also add in the replace string to personalize. So when a student first enters, they see their name, welcome to the course, here's some more information. Now, it is also available in assignment instructions, discussion instructions, and topic posts, the feedback areas for activities in gradebook, and also intelligent agents. But it is not available in the internal Brightspace email. So like if you just go up to the roster and then choose to email a student, it won't, like when it converts into an email, it shows the replacement string. It doesn't show their name. The other area where it doesn't work are HTML web pages. So like your content pages. So it also just shows the string. But you might find it very handy for announcements or module descriptions. And I'll just throw this in the chat. My formatting is a little bit off, but hopefully you still find that helpful. The link that I added is to Brightspace's documentation. So there's a lot on there that you probably won't use. However, if you're just looking for a little bit more information, it might be available there. Okay. Pretty good on replace strings. So, document templates are what we are referring to that you can use in the web page object. And they are handy because they are user-friendly layouts that are pre-built, and they can help you structure and present your content on an HTML page. They are good to use because they are responsive and accessible. And You can, it helps to present information in a consistent and professional style. And there are a whole bunch of them, but let me just show you how you would get into it. They're only available in the web pages. So you would head over to your module, go to Upload, Create, do Create a File web page. And here we have select a document template. When you choose this, this is where you have your options. There are 11 layouts to choose from, right? Yeah, 11 layouts to choose from, and each has images, headings, design elements, and your campus logo. Some useful ones, the ones that you might find useful that you will use often might be a blank page. And again, we can preview to kind of get a better idea for what this might look like. Might be the basic page or meet your facilitator. Now, if you notice, it's now giving me a warning that it's replacing the content. Each time that you apply a template, it will replace anything that's in there. But I'll show you a trick, a workflow trick here in a minute. So yes, we're gonna replace, I'm just gonna poke around here. So using this one as an example, we have our headings, and you can add in your information. You can replace the image here with your own by selecting the image, choosing the image icon, going to uploading an image, and then it will add that one in and replace it. Make sure you add your alt text, add in your information, and while we're talking about it, we still have our accessibility checker, and always good to check. And then you would provide alternative text, or if it's applicable, say that it's decorative. Oh, thanks, Jamie, for adding in document template videos. There are so many resources on this, but I'll show you just a couple highlights that you might find particularly fun. Oh, the other one, aside from Meet Your Facilitator, are the elements. So we have our elements page that has a couple different things that you might find useful. The list is kind of nice. We have block quotes, Jumbotron, callouts, tables, panels, and then there's also accordions and tabs. These ones you might also find useful. And we can preview these so you get a sense of what it would look like. So a single accordion and multiples. And also our tabs. So tabs will look a little bit different. But have some interaction available. Okay. So you may have noticed that, okay, this gives me some things. Maybe I want to do a combination of, maybe I will do a combination of things. Maybe I kind of like this to start, but maybe I don't want half of this. That's fine. So what you'll want to do is start with a template. So start with any template. Let's say we like, sure, let's just go with basic page. Let's say we like our basic page. We can set the template first before you add content. So set your template first. Just for the sake of, I'm just going to give this a name for just for a second. I'm just going to save this for a second. All right. I'm going to create essentially or utilize essentially like a temporary documents template page so that I can pull content from it. So here I have a document template, one that I created already. And if I wanted to edit this, I could come back in here and let's say I just want to use, let's say I want to use my accordions. So now I've got my accordions. Okay. I'm going to just split this view so you can see it side by side. You can apply pieces of one template to another template, but it has to be in editing mode. So here's the one that I want to use. I'm going to edit this one. My document templates is already being edited. So let's say somewhere in this range, let me make some space. I want to add this accordion. Let's do 2. I want to add my accordion. I'm going to copy from the end, at least to the start. I also want the title, so I'm going to copy that too. Copying it in my one that I want to use, simply pasting. And then I can delete, the instructions and then add my additional info and whatever else. And then save. And then you can keep your document templates one hidden, or if you're just using it to pull particular elements, then you can delete it. But now in my document, in my basic page, now I've got the foundation of my basic page, but I've also included those particular elements that I thought were interesting. All right, and I will show you one more trick with document templates that you also might find interesting. So let's say I've created a module overview page. I love this module overview page. It has all the information that I want to repeat in each module, but I don't want to keep on remaking it. What you can do is you can essentially pretend this is a template without having to copy and paste it. What you'll first want to do is take note of the page name, which is at the bottom of that page. So my module overview page is module overview.html. All right. So now let's say I go to my next module. We already have a module overview. I'll have to give it another name. That's okay. We want to create a new one, and we do create a file, web page. And now from my selected document template, I'm going to scroll all the way down to browse for a template. And I'm going to look for, what did I say it was named? Overview? My module overview. I could click this. It'll open it up into a new window or download it every single time I click it, and it's not what I want to do. You want to click the box. So click the box and then add that in. And now I have the same content that is in the other page. But be sure with your titles for what you're going to title this new page, you either give it a new title. So we've got module 2 because we already got module 1 and the overview. Give it a new page if you want it to be a standalone, to exist on its own. If you were to name this the same as the original module overview, you're overwriting the original file and it will also update in that other space. So be sure that if you are applying a previous page that you had created as a template to something else, give it a new name, just so you don't overwrite it. Yeah. And then save. So that's kind of an easy way that you can duplicate your yeah. And then if you overwrite it, I've been there too. Yeah, that it took a while for me to figure it out and then a while to correct it. Yeah. If for some reason you do not see the document layouts, contact your Campus DLE admin, but you should see things that are within your course. So if you wanted to pull another existing page, it's only within that course. All right, so we've only got a few minutes left, and I'm going to quickly show you release conditions. I'm also going to put the Brightspace documentation just for more information into the chat. But release conditions are settings that you apply to an object that requires students to do something else in the course first before they can view or access the next step. So in this case, I have a quiz in my Getting Started Welcome, a quiz that students have to complete. And I've set the restriction in a module so that they can't access this module until they do, what do I say? One attempt, but you can change that until they do one attempt. This is available in other areas, but the module space might be a common place that you'll apply it to. How you would apply it is you would head into your module. I'm going to get rid of this for a second. Your dates are not, they're separate. The dates will be the availability of an object for everyone based on those dates, not anything else. The release conditions will be individual. So each student has to do something specific. So we do create the condition type, which I wanted it to be. You could do visited content. You can choose completed quiz attempt, and then you would select your quiz. So you do have to have the other items in place before applying. You can set the number of attempts and then create. And then just to be aware, you can add multiple conditions, but know that there's also this drop down that stipulates all conditions must be met or any condition. So maybe you have 2 quizzes, they have to complete one of these, or maybe there's a quiz and some readings and they have to at least open it. Whatever you set, click update. Now, students will not see this until they complete their quiz. So you have to tell them, you have to inform them in some way that in order to access, module 2 or whatever, that let me jump in, that they have to complete this quiz to unlock the next step. So giving them some kind of notification that something else is there. So the result is a structured but individual learning path. And I see that we're just coming up on time, but is there anything that I can cover or that Jamie can review or any questions that we can help answer? Some conversation in the chat with YouTube. Like Erin mentioned, recordings for all of our sessions are posted to the YouTube channel, and it might be named SUNY Online. Yeah. Oh, SUNY Online Teaching, just kidding.
I did also notice, Jamie, that you posted in the chat about how to connect a rubric to the discussion forum. So I just wanted to make sure nobody missed that as well.
Yeah, we do have 2 minutes left if somebody wants to see how to do that, but it's really simple. Just let me know in the chat if you want us to show you that. Okay. They seem to be okay. Whoa. Sorry,
Awesome.
I'm having 2 kitties are battling for the comfy bed here on my desk.
That's awesome. And lots of great links and resources in the chat. We will put all of those links in the description with the recording so that you can have access to everything that was shared. There are no actual slides. This was all demoed through the Brightspace instance. So we'll share the links to the resources.
Great. Thank you, everybody, and good luck with your semesters. I hope some of these tips and tricks make your life a little bit easier this semester.
Thank you. There's so much good information.
Thanks,
I
John. I
do
hope to
hope
see you at
that,
Otter this
yeah.
year.
Oh, hi, John.
Thank you all.
All
I
right,
do
take
hope
care,
everyone
everybody.
found something that they can take away. So I posted again in our YouTube channel and on our website, you can see upcoming webinars. We have some more scheduled for you for February. So thanks again. Thanks to Jamie and to Allene as well.
Thanks, Allene.
Thank you.
All right, take care.